Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Republican, and this is my first impressions video on Divinity Original Sin 2. After 20 hours in Divinity Original Sin 2, I've come to like but not love this RPG. It feels like the game has a little bit of an identity crisis. The writing in Original Sin 2 is phenomenal. Its combination of serious subject matter like religious zealotry and suicide with consistently dark humor kept me playing for hours even when the poor balancing had me wanting to pull my hair out. Additionally, the roleplay elements are also here in spades, with many quests having multiple solutions and even tailored responses to and from whichever origin character you play as. While not every dialogue option leads to different outcomes, the game puts in a thorough effort to create the feeling that the player is making meaningful choices and the game knows that these choices are being made. Original Sin 2 features a classless leveling system, allowing for all sorts of skills to be mixed and matched, allowing players to make traditional and more focused builds, or more quirky and volatile ones. The combat system in this game is fun. You control up to a party of 4 with some temporary options to increase this in certain encounters, and turn-based strategy combat where each character has a certain number of action points that they can use to spend on movement, weapon attacks, abilities, spells, or items in their inventory. Combat on classic difficulty is very hard. The game has no issue wiping your party out if you make a big enough mistake between turns, and resurrection scrolls are a must while playing on this difficulty. I played nearly up to the final fight at Fort Joy on this difficulty on classic. And while the feeling of achievement from winning these battles was present and it was satisfying, it was constantly being stymied by having to spend almost all of my money in-game on resurrection scrolls rather than skill books or equipment. That's where the identity crisis of Divinity Original Sin 2 reveals itself. While I was more than able to create quirky character builds, it very often felt like I was being punished for trying to avoid the traditional RPG stat and skill tropes. Enemies of my same level very often felt like they were a level or two above my own because I wasn't putting, all of my points into strength for my warrior characters, all of my points into intelligence for my spellcasters. I was mixing and matching stuff, and it didn't feel rewarding on that difficulty. That issue didn't present itself on the difficulty one lower than that, Explorer. The combat experience felt much more balanced and supportive of the unique builds, and played a lot more like Dragon Age Origins than it did, say, XCOM Enemy Unknown. Divinity Original Sin 2 is a decent RPG that I more than recommend for the $45 it'll cost you on Steam. And with that, I've been Republican. This has been my first impressions video on Divinity Original Sin 2. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you feel so inclined. And remember, everyone games.